Amid Sandeshkhali horror tales,
look no further than the story of Sandeshkhali in Bengal. For over 2 weeks now, starting with India Today and then the rest of the media, the national focus has been on the town and the village of Sandeshkhali in West Bengal. The person that all fingers have been pointing at is a local Trinamool leader named Sheikh Shahjahan. All of this is information that you already know because the media, especially here on India Today, has been covering it relentlessly. The allegations are serious. The allegations are of sexual assault, barbarism, land grab, and everything in between. There have been incidents that are violent. There have been situations that have continued to remain tense there. But the accused individual, Sheikh Shahjahan of the ruling Trinamool party, has been on the run for over 50 days. And I want you, viewer, to think about this for a moment. The Trinamool Congress, which has such a tight grip over its cadres and especially its leaders, claims not to know where Sheikh Shahjahan is. This crisis continues to unfold, but the West Bengal police, which has shown alacrity in trying to debunk and say that no cases have been filed by these women when the women have been claiming that nobody has allowed them to file cases until the media pressure. Now they say that they have no idea where Sheikh Shahjahan is. Today, the Trinamool Congress asserted that its absconding Neta Shahjahan Sheikh will be apprehended within the next 7 days. But this is only after they were publicly shamed and embarrassed by the Calcutta High Court. This was criticism coming directly from the High Court at the state government and its leaders after they tried to peddle the lie that it was a court order asking them not to do anything vis-a-vis Sheikh Shahjahan. That official Trinamool lie has been busted by the Calcutta High Court, but you'll hear very little about it except here on India Today. Well, during a hearing of a public interest litigation today, the Calcutta High Court in scathing terms rebuked the Bengal government. The court emphasized that there was no stay preventing Sheikh Shahjahan's arrest as senior leaders of the Trinamool party were trying to peddle in public, and that the previous order merely halted the establishment of a special investigation team, which means that the Mamata government was trying to hide behind the words used by the Supreme Court to not go after the man that all of these women were accusing of cruelty, barbarity, sexual assault, and many other things. Additionally, the court, as you're going to see in a report right now, viewer, expressed astonishment at the fact that incidents had been reported to the state police 4 years ago, yet it took 4 years for these cases to result in 42 charge sheets. Now remember that the person who's been making the claim that the Trinamool's hands are tied by the court was none other than the Chief Minister's nephew and General Secretary of the Trinamool, Abhishek Banerjee, who shifted blame to the judiciary, questioning what actions the administration could take if the High Court had restrained them. That lie has been fully busted today. Take a look.
he's being called the terror of Sandeshkhali. Sheikh Shahjahan. 42-year-old influential TMC leader and local strongman, Sheikh Shahjahan is currently absconding. But this member of the North 24 Parganas Zilla Parishad and in charge of the Fisheries Department virtually ruled by fear. He stands accused of using violence and intimidation to ensure total submission. Such is his clout that his supporters attacked the Enforcement Directorate team that had gone to question him in connection with the ration scam. Shahjahan is also an accused in the murder case of 3 BJP workers, Pradeep Mandal, Devdas Mandal and Sukanta Mandal, who were killed in June 2019. Such is his fear and clout that the families of the victims had to move to Calcutta High Court against the West Bengal CID when his name was dropped from the charge sheet.
গরিব মানুষ যে ব্যবসা করে খাবে সে ব্যবসাও সাধারণ শেখ থাবা বসিয়ে দিয়েছে এলাকার মা বোনেরা তার উপরে খুব ক্ষিপ্ত হয়ে গেছে এই কারণে মা বোনেদের দিনে রাতে যখন ইচ্ছা তখন যার বাড়ি সুন্দর বউ থাকলে ওকে অমুক দিনটা অমুক রাতে পাঠিয়ে দিস
Shahjahan shifted his allegiance from the CPIM to the Trinamool Congress post 2011. Since Sandeshkhali is an island, Shahjahan Sheikh ruled here with an iron fist. He is said to be a close aide of arrested TMC minister Jyoti Priya Malik. Such is his importance for the TMC that despite allegations of rape, torture, molestation and intimidation levelled by several women, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is being accused of defending him.
এবং আপনারা দেখেছেন যারা মুখে মাস্ক পরে পরে ছবি তুলছে ধরাও পড়েছে বিজেপির কর্মী কিভাবে তারা বাইরে থেকে নিয়ে এসে একটা এলাকাকে অশান্ত করার চেষ্টা করেছে আগে টার্গেট শেখ শাহজাহান ওকে টার্গেট করে ইডি ঢুকলো তারপরেই সবাইকে বার করে দিয়ে তারপরে ওখানে আদিবাসী মাইনরিটিদের মধ্যে ঝগড়া লাগিয়ে দিল
In this belt of Sundarbans, Sheikh Shahjahan prides himself for being the only Royal Bengal tiger. Victims say they approached the police many times, but their complaint was never filed and cases were registered against their men instead by the police.
আমাদের এই জমি জায়গাগুলো আমাদেরকে আকাশ থেকে কেড়ে নিয়েছে আমাদের লিস্ট টাকা তো সময় মতো দেয় না যদি লিস্ট টাকা আমাদের আনতে গেলে আমাদেরকে অনেক রকম কথা আমাদেরকে শুনতে হয় জোর জবরদস্তি করে আমাদের বাড়ি থেকে তুলে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে
With Sheikh Shahjahan not joining investigations, despite the attack on the ED team, the women finally mustered courage to highlight their plight. All eyes now are on the Mamata Banerjee government. If the police will arrest, prosecute and punish Sheikh Shahjahan and end his reign of terror.
The people of Sandeshkhali are demanding immediate arrest of TMC leader Sheikh Shahjahan so that they can get justice. This is Rajesh Shah for India Today, Sandeshkhali.
Everybody would understand if Sheikh Shahjahan had been absconding for a few days, viewer. Even a week would perhaps be understandable because, people have the power to be able to evade the law and hide. Maybe even 10 days would be understandable. At the very top end, 2 weeks of a ruling party man being successfully able to evade the law, evade the administration, not listen to the national pressure that's there on the Trinamool government to apprehend him, even though he may be receiving different instructions, etc. But for 52 days is beyond the realm of all shamelessness when it comes to Sheikh Shahjahan of the Trinamool Congress. Nearly 2 months since he's been absconding in a separate case involving the Enforcement Directorate, but even now he hasn't come forward. The Calcutta High Court has come down heavily on the Bengal government for failing to, I wonder if it's actually failing to or if it's complicity, to nab the Trinamool strongman. Meanwhile, protests have started to erupt in a village neighbouring Sandeshkhali. Team India Today is on the ground to get you the latest. Take a look at who this man is and why the hunt is still on for him.
Bengal's Sandeshkhali continues to simmer. Fresh protests erupted in Bermajur on Monday. Locals ransacked house of yet another TMC leader. Residents accused TMC netas of looting Prime Minister Awas Yojana funds meant for them.
আমি তো সেটা শুনলাম সেটা না আমার অভিযোগ আমাদের 2020 সালে ঘর এসেছিল আবাস যোজনা সেই ঘরের কিস্তি ঢোকানোর জন্য হলদারিয়া তাপদারি 30,000 টাকা নিয়েছিল তাহলে কিস্তি ঢোকাবে নাহলে ঢোকাবে না আমার ক্ষেত্রে গ্রাম সবার ক্ষেত্রে সবার ক্ষেত্রে 30,000 টাকা করে নিয়েছিল ঘর নাহলে টাকা দেবে না
আপনি সেই ঘরের টাকা পেয়েছেন
হ্যাঁ পেয়েছি টাকা দেওয়ার পরে পেয়েছি নাহলে পাইনি
Fresh violence erupts in Sandeshkhali. Let me show you another TMC leader. Shankar Shardar residence has been ransacked by protesters and particularly women over here just a while from now. And now you have many women with streaks and brooms. They have gathered and attacked Shankar Shardar's place.
The Calcutta High Court, meanwhile, shattered Mamata government's excuse to give a nearly 2-month-long free run to absconding TMC neta Shahjahan Sheikh. High Court demolished a bid to shift the blame to judiciary by CM Mamata's nephew and TMC General Secretary Abhishek Banerjee. Abhishek had claimed that the runaway TMC neta is not being arrested as per High Court directive.
শাহজাহানকে গ্রেপ্তার করার জন্য রাজ্য প্রশাসনের হাত পা যদি হাইকোর্ট বেঁধে না দিয়ে পুলিশকে এম্পাওয়ার করতো, পুলিশ করে দেখাতো।
The High Court said it has never barred arrest of Shahjahan Sheikh. It also slammed Mamata government for turning a blind eye to land grabs by TMC men for 4 long years.
अभिषेक बैनर्जी ने जो है अपने बिल में से बाहर निकल के लोगों को झूठ कहा था। इतने दिन तो वो शक्ल नहीं दिखा पा रहे थे क्योंकि पश्चिम बंगाल की औरतों ने जिस तरह के एलिगेशंस लगाए तो वो लोग कहीं मुंह दिखाने लायक नहीं है। और कल आकर के वो कहते हैं कि कोर्ट ने उसको प्रोटेक्शन दिया इसीलिए उनकी पुलिस जो है वो पकड़ नहीं पा रही है। तो पुलिस की नाकामयाबी इसमें साफ है और आज कोर्ट ने पूरे तरीके से कह दिया कि इस तरह का कोई भी स्टे ऑर्डर नहीं है, वो दोषी है, उसको पकड़ना पुलिस की ड्यूटी है। और अगली बार फिर अगली तारीख में हम ये पूछेंगे कि पुलिस अभी तक क्यों नहीं पकड़ पाई।
A cornered TMC, which has so far defended Shahjahan, promised to arrest him, but defended Abhishek's words.
There was a stay put by High Court on the investigation related to Sheikh Shahjahan. That's why so far the Sheikh Shahjahan issue is concerned, police was unable to take action freely. Now, once the stay order has been removed and police personnel are freed, based on the chronology of the capabilities and events and the activities of police administration, you can very well say that now police will be taking their own course and the accused will be definitely brought to book in due course of time.
With the scathing High Court indictment, is it time for Sandeshkhali's villain? With Ritik Mondal in Bermajur, Bureau Report, India Today.
And I want to take you straight to India Today. Shreya Chatterjee joining us live from Sandeshkhali in West Bengal. Shreya, 52 days and counting is big from any measure of imagination. In the wake of the very harsh words by the High Court of Calcutta, which has basically busted the stand of the Trinamool to say that, we have been constrained by the court to take any action. They've run out of excuses in many ways, but, the fact that this man has been absconding for 52 days, is there any sense that the West Bengal police knows where he is, what he's been up to all this while?
Well, Shiv, one thing is for clear that there has been a missing intention on the part of the West Bengal police and the administration to nab Sheikh Shahjahan, because we are talking about 52 plus days ever since the protest erupted in Sandeshkhali. But
yes,
the cases against Sheikh Shahjahan does not start from this year. Since 2019, 42 cases, including murder cases, are against him. What has stopped the West Bengal police to arrest him for so long? His reign of terror has somewhere down the line left scars on the people of Sandeshkhali that can never be removed. And despite that, the kind of statements that are coming in from the government and especially the administration is somewhere down the line questionable. Today we obviously saw that senior officials were doing rounds in Sandeshkhali trying to take assessments of what is actually happening so far as the protest is concerned. A fresh FIR has been lodged against Sheikh Shahjahan. Going by Abhishek Banerjee's words, the only hope that now that they say that they will move after the High Court giving clarity, we only hope that Sheikh Shahjahan gets arrested the soonest.
And, have the wheels of justice started turning? I mean, obviously, it's because of the huge amount of media pressure and political scrutiny that the West Bengal government has been subjected to. And we do know that camps were finally set up under pressure to take complaints of the women, making these allegations. How is that process going, Shreya?
Well, Shiv, the camps are there. We are seeing numbers of complaints, and when I talk numbers, these are complaints which have gone above 400 right now as we talk, where people are coming and registering their complaints about various cases, including scam in their Manrega cases, including land grabbing, atrocities against women, and not just Sheikh Shahjahan. Multiple aides of Sheikh Shahjahan have been involved in this. That's the reason we are seeing the kind of protest that is happening sporadic. At one place, one of his aides are being attacked. At other place, another person is facing attack. That's because there has been a reign of terror, and now finally the people of Sandeshkhali feel safe that they can actually come out and talk about the kind of atrocities they have been seeing from Sheikh Shahjahan and his men.
Okay, Shreya, Shreya, thanks very much for joining us on this. I want to remind our viewers once again that the situation in Sandeshkhali is, had been quite tense over the last few days, with many villagers taking things into their own hands, vandalizing property owned by Sheikh Shahjahan or owned by his brother. But things are calm now because there is a security deployment there. Obviously, with the media spotlight fixed on Sandeshkhali, it doesn't look like things will actually, things can actually flare up there in any dramatic way, which is a good thing, but it still means the pressure is on the establishment. I want to bring in India Today's Hrithik Mondal as well to give us a perspective from the political side on what's going on. Hrithik, embarrassment there for Abhishek Banerjee and the Trinamool with the Calcutta High Court saying, nowhere have we constrained you from pursuing and arresting Sheikh Shahjahan. What is the internal reaction to that from the government?
Well, definitely today Calcutta High Court came down heavily on police action against Sheikh Shahjahan and into the entire matter related to Sandeshkhali violence. Remember, it's been over 50 days that Sandeshkhali is boiling and there is no clarity about the whereabouts of Sheikh Shahjahan, the main perpetrators, the alleged person who is still at large. And after today's Calcutta High Court order, we heard that for the first time possibly, the party, the Kunal Ghosh, stated that in coming 7 days, police will be arresting Sheikh Shahjahan. So there was a huge allegations against Mamata-led government and its administration and police, particularly that oppositions, including BJP, time and again alleges that the police is hiding Sheikh Shahjahan in this matter. And currently you have a top leader of Trinamool Congress party. The day when Calcutta High Court slammed the police and the administration over the entire matter, left, right and center, and Kunal Ghosh stating that in coming 7 days, Sheikh Shahjahan can be arrested. So this is a very clear hunch that we do understand that possibly the pressures are mounting on not only on the administration but also the party amid a situation that's uproar and violent protests are being spreading across several other islands of this beautiful delta of Sundarban, and particularly in Sandeshkhali. So we do understand that administrations are also gearing up their actions against Sheikh Shahjahan. Back to you.
Okay, 52 days and counting. We will continue to report from the ground. Hrithik, Shreya and all of our reporters will continue to keep your focus on this big story in West Bengal. Thanks Hrithik, thanks Shreya for joining me on that. Moving on to another story, this also from the eastern part of the country. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has spoken out on all the criticism over the repealing of the Muslim Marriage and Divorce Act as Assam gears up to become the second state after Uttarakhand to roll out the Uniform Civil Code. Himanta defended the repealing of the act, saying it ensured a much-needed crackdown on child marriages in Assam. Himanta also lashed out at his political detractors, saying those who facilitated minor Muslim girls' marriages for years are now protesting against the government's move of doing whatever it takes to ban child marriage in the state. You're going to hear what Himanta has just said. His spirited defense comes even as opposition parties have lashed out at the move. Asaduddin Owaisi from Hyderabad also criticized the repealing of the act, questioning how any Muslim marriage can be upheld now in Assam when khutbah and meher, part of Muslim weddings, have also been repealed as a result of the government steps. Listen in to the Assam Chief Minister.
आप लोग सुन लीजिए, असम में चाइल्ड मैरिज नहीं होने दूंगा जब तक मैं जिंदा हूँ। हम होने नहीं दूंगा जब तक हिमंता बिस्वा शर्मा जिंदा है, तब तक असम में चाइल्ड मैरिज नहीं होगा। मुसलमान समाजৰ বাচ্চা ল'ৰা ছোৱালীক লৈ আপোনালোকক বিজনেছ কৰিব দিয়া নহব।
महर कौन देगा दुल्हन को? यानी अब आसाम में अगर मुसलमान शादी करेंगे कानून के लिहाज से तो ना काजी साहब रहेंगे खुतबा के लिए, ना दुल्हन को महर मिलेगा। तो फिर ये तो इस्लाम का बहुत बड़ा रुकन है, ये महर देना दुल्हन को। वहां पर बीजेपी की हुकूमत ने ये वो कानून को बंद कर दिया और कहा कि स्पेशल मैरिज एक्ट में आपको रजिस्ट्रेशन करना पड़ेगा। हमसे शरीयत को छीनना चाहते हैं। महर तो गायब हो गया, तो महर मुअज्जल देना पड़ता। अगर फौरन दे रहे तो दे दो, ये दिए, बाद में दे रहे तो वो भी लिखना पड़ता। गायब हो गया, निकाल दिया बीजेपी ने वहां पर।
Okay, so the continuing focus on uniform civil code, especially after Uttarakhand had rolled it out, is going to be something to look out for. On the road to 2024, UCC becomes a hot button topic, and what has been announced in Assam right now is one of the steps being taken towards uniform civil code potentially in the eastern state as well. And now, once again, staying with the east, because that appears to be the flavor of today's 5 Live, Sikkim's 49-year wait is going to end soon. Wait for what? Well, the hilly state of Sikkim is all set to get its first railway line from Sivok to Rangpo. And after this, the rail route will be extended to the capital Gangtok and then all the way to Nathula on the border with Tibet, which is very significant from a strategic point of view, as you can imagine. Here's Milan Sharma reporting.
The northeastern state of Sikkim is all set to get its first railway network. This is going to be the bedrock for enhanced defense security at the Sikkim-China border. Sikkim's first railway station at Rangpo under the Sivok-Rangpo rail project is slated to be a garrison for a rail network, reaching at the high altitude of the Sikkim-China border. The 45-kilometer rail route will be extended to Gangtok and then till Nathula region, which is a strategic border point. India Today television was on ground zero to check the progress of this project.
This is another one of the Indian government and Indian Railways infrastructure push to connect all the regions of the northeast and especially provide last mile rail connectivity all the way to the China border. We are at Sivok station in West Bengal that will finally have a line laid all the way till Gangtok and in the third phase from Gangtok to Nathula region.
Presently, the route has 5 stations, which include Sivok, Riang, Tista Bazar, Meli and Rangpo. Further from Siliguri region in Bengal, we reach what is going to be the first broad gauge underground station ever made by Indian Railways, Tista Bazar. We witnessed the blasting of the tunnel for this station platform.
What you're seeing in front of you right now inside this particular tunnel is going to be the first underground railway station for the Indian Railway network. It's going to be called the Tista Bazar station between Sivak as well as Rangpo. And preparations are on. Safety exits have also been taken out in case there is any fire situation or other sort of emergency over here.
यहाँ पे खुदाई का काम बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है क्योंकि ये रॉक स्ट्रैटा बहुत ही खराब मिलता है हमको। तो इसमें अब आप देख रहे हैं पूरा फेस को ब्लास्ट करने की बजाय हम लोग आधा फेस ही कर रहे हैं। ऊपर वाला स्ट्रैटा बिल्कुल लूज है, यहाँ थोड़ा हार्ड है, इसलिए इतना हम स्मॉल एक्सप्लोसिव यूज करके ही हम ब्लास्ट कर पाते हैं।
The project has faced several geographical and weather challenges. Unprecedented glacial lake outburst flood in South Lonak Lake in North Sikkim. Catastrophic failure of Chungthang Dam in North Sikkim led to the rise in water level in the Tista River and the complete washout of the National Highway 10.
Original commissioning date was in 24, but due to recent flooded, the commissioning date has been extended. Now the tentative date is in 2025. This is a 3-phase project. First is from Sebok in West Bengal to Rangpo, then Rangpo to Gangtok, Gangtok to Nathula. So the complete line will be of strategic importance from our forces point of view also.
The project will be a major strategic advantage for the Indian defence, once connected till Gangtok, Nathula.
The second and the third phase of the project is going to be the most challenging one because it's going to provide connectivity all the way from Gangtok to Nathula right up till the Sikkim-China border. With heavy geographical constraints of the area in the road routes, the railway project is going to provide easy movement of materials and troops all the way to Nathula to counter China's intentions on the international borders with India. With Pavan Kumar in Sikkim, Milan Sharma for India Today.
And viewer, it's the 5th anniversary today of India's airstrikes in Balakot in Pakistan. You, of course, remember that. On the other side of this break, I'm going to be bringing onto my show live one of the senior Indian Air Force personnel who was in the war room and directing the action.
Business Today salutes India's finest corporate achievers. We celebrate innovative strategies for resilient and sustainable businesses in a fast-changing world. From mid-sized to unicorns, from new entries to lifetime achievement awards, be a part of an event where excellence meets inspiration. Join us in honoring the trailblazing titans of India Inc. at Business Today Mind Rush and the Best CEO Awards.
मंत्री भी थे, उन्हें एक फर्जी केस में केंद्र सरकार ने गिरफ्तार कर लिया था। उनकी गिरफ्तारी का आज 1 साल पूरा होता है। इस 1 साल के अंदर केंद्र सरकार कोर्ट में एक नए पैसे का भी सबूत पेश नहीं कर पाई और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जब सुनवाई हो रही थी तो ये बात बार बार निकल के आई जब जज साहब ने भी कहा कि केंद्र सरकार के पास मनीष सिसोदिया के खिलाफ कोई केस नहीं है, तो पूरा झूठा केस है। मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने 75 साल के बाद 75 साल में गरीबों की शिक्षा प्रणाली इतनी खराब हो गई थी, सरकारी स्कूलों का बुरा हाल था। 75 साल के बाद उन्होंने गरीबों को एक उम्मीद दी थी कि उनके बच्चों को भी अच्छी शिक्षा मिल सकती है, उनके बच्चों को भी अच्छा भविष्य मिल सकता है। मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने गरीबों के बच्चों को सपने देखने का अधिकार दिया था। ऐसे व्यक्ति को झूठे केस में फंसाकर आज 1 साल से जेल में डाला हुआ है। एक तरफ उन्हें जेल में डाला हुआ है और दूसरी तरफ हम देखते हैं कि इस देश को लूटने वालों को, जो इस देश को लूट रहे हैं, कई हजार करोड़ रुपए के जिनके ऊपर भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप हैं, जिन्हें खुद प्रधानमंत्री जी अपने भाषणों में बड़े बड़े भ्रष्टाचारी बोल चुके हैं, उन लोगों को अपनी पार्टी में शामिल करा के और उनको बड़े बड़े पद दिए जा रहे हैं। किसी को मुख्यमंत्री बना देते हैं, किसी को मंत्री बना देते हैं, किसी को उप मुख्यमंत्री बना देते हैं। तो एक वो कहावत है कि रामचंद्र कह गए सिया से, ऐसा कलयुग आएगा, हंस चुनेगा दाना दुनका, कौवा मोती खाएगा। आज वही हाल हमारे देश का हो गया है, जिसमें इस देश की तरक्की करने वाले लोगों को पकड़ पकड़ के जेल में डाला जा रहा है। इस देश का विकास, इस देश के गरीबों की चिंता करने वाले लोगों को, भविष्य देने वाले लोगों को पकड़ पकड़ के जेल में डाला जा रहा है और इस देश के लूटने वाले सत्ता का सुख भोग रहे हैं। आज हम दुख नहीं मना रहे मनीष जी का, वो हमारे लिए प्रेरणा है। आज अगर मनीष जी बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर लेते तो उनके ऊपर से सारे केस खत्म कर दिए जाते, लेकिन उन्होंने सच्चाई का रास्ता नहीं छोड़ा, उन्होंने सच्चाई का पथ नहीं छोड़ा। उन्होंने तय कर लिया है कि चाहे जितनी मर्जी मुसीबतें आए, मैं सच्चाई के रास्ते पे रहूँगा, चाहे जितने साल जेल में डाले रखे मैं सच्चाई पे रहूँगा, क्योंकि मैंने कोई गलत काम नहीं किया। तो हम उनसे प्रेरणा लेते हैं। आम आदमी पार्टी क्या, पूरे देश का एक एक व्यक्ति जो इस देश से प्यार करता है, जो देशभक्त है, जो चाहता है कि देश आगे बढ़े, वो व्यक्ति मनीष जी को अपनी प्रेरणा मानता है। हम मनीष जी को सलाम करते हैं।
जब ईडी खुद ही कोर्ट चली गई तो मुझे लगता है न्यायालय के फैसले का इंतजार ईडी को करना चाहिए। न्यायालय ने ईडी के जो केस है उसकी कॉग्निजेंस ली है, मुख्यमंत्री जी को नोटिस दिया, मुख्यमंत्री जी के वकील वहां पेश हुए, उन्होंने अपना जवाब दाखिल दिया, उसके बाद मुख्यमंत्री जी को 16 मार्च तक का समय दिया गया। अब ईडी को इंतजार करना चाहिए कोर्ट का।
आज एक बार फिर 7वीं बार अरविंद केजरीवाल ने ईडी के संबंध का जवाब नहीं दिया और ईडी के संबंध को इवेट किया। कुछ यही चीज हेमंत सोरेन ने भी की थी। उनका क्या हाल हुआ सबको पता है, सबने देखा है। अरविंद केजरीवाल साहब, आप जितना मर्जी भाग लीजिए, एक ना एक दिन आपको ईडी के समक्ष पेश होना ही पड़ेगा और उनके बहुत सारे सवाल हैं, उनके जवाब देने हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 300 करोड़ के मनी ट्रेल का जिक्र किया, उसका आपको जवाब देना है।
एक व्यक्ति जो 2 बार विधायक रहा है, जो एक पार्टी का प्रदेश अध्यक्ष था, उसे सुरक्षा नहीं मुहैया कराई गई। जिस ढंग से आके उनको 50 गोलियां मारी गईं, 2 लोगों की मौत हो गई, टफे सिंह जी और उनके एक साथी की, वो दिखाता कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कानून व्यवस्था हरियाणा में रही नहीं गई है।
बहुत दुखद घटना है, बहुत अफसोस है। मैं तो अपनी सहानुभूति उनके साथ प्रकट करता हूं, पर किन का क्या कैसे हुआ, क्योंकि मुझे अभी मैं यहां से निकला, मुझे जानकारी नहीं है।
इनकी पार्टी की सुप्रीमो की तरफ से होना चाहिए, आधिकारिक रूप से होना चाहिए, लेकिन आधिकारिक रूप से ये नहीं कहे जाते हैं कि गठबंधन की प्रक्रिया खत्म हो चुकी है, क्योंकि सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी दुविधा में है। दुविधा नंबर 1, सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी की एक वर्ग, उनका यह मानना है कि अगर हम इंडिया गठबंधन छोड़ के अकेले चुनाव में उतरे तो बंगाल की अल्पसंख्यकों ने हमारे खिलाफ वोट डालेंगे।
साथियों, जब मैंने देशवासियों को नए भारत के निर्माण की गारंटी दी थी, तो ये विपक्ष के लोग जो आए दिन मुझे गाली देने के शौकीन हैं, वो उसकी भी मजाक उड़ाते थे। आज देखिए, लोग नया भारत अपनी आंखों से बनता हुआ देख रहे हैं। जिन्होंने लंबे समय तक देश पर शासन किया, उनके पास इच्छा शक्ति नहीं थी, सामान्य जन को सुविधा देने की नीयत और निष्ठा में खोट थी। कांग्रेस की पूरी ताकत एक परिवार को ही आगे बढ़ाने में लगती रही। अगर एक परिवार को ही सब कुछ करना था, तो देश बनाने की याद कैसे आती?
Viewer, on this day, 5 years ago, the Indian Air Force dropped bombs in Pakistan's Balakot. An airstrike that you don't need to be reminded about because you remember it. On this day 5 years ago, as some of this animation depicts, a group of Mirage 2000 fighters quietly crossed the line of control in the darkness, deployed their weapons towards a lonely hilltop in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, and then turned back. The action of the bombing mission lasted less than 2 hours. But why are we still talking about Balakot 5 years later? Why is an anniversary of a military operation still a talking point? Let me explain. First, the impact on Pakistan. Beyond the obvious, the Balakot airstrikes have had a deep psychological impact on Pakistan. It's one of the reasons why Pakistan talks about Balakot, if you haven't noticed, a whole lot more than India does. While India hasn't bothered engaging in the years-long claim war over extent of damage caused by Indian bombs in Balakot, choosing to let Pakistan's body language do the talking, Pakistan has gamely fallen into this trap, fussing and fuming over the strikes, deploying all manner of energy in trying to play down the impact of the Indian bombs. What Balakot did, viewer, was to permanently deprive Pakistan of its sense of calm. With the airstrike, Pakistan was basically informed in no uncertain terms that an airstrike on its territory was now fully within the realm of possibility, could happen anytime if India was provoked, and that India would not hesitate to use air power to destroy targets on sovereign Pakistani territory. This is not a small thing, viewer. For two nuclear-armed countries, what Balakot did was call Pakistan's bluff, expose its defenses, and show it up as vulnerable. But psychological insomnia isn't the only thing India's airstrikes gave to Pakistan. It also forced Pakistan to spend billions of dollars in reassessing its air defense capabilities, which had failed miserably on that day 5 years ago. It gave the then Imran Khan government a colossal amount of domestic pressure to deal with. It completely exposed Pakistan's much-touted intelligence agencies, which were caught clearly sleeping and are now forced to spend millions of dollars to stay more awake than they have ever done in the past. It exposed Pakistan to international scrutiny because the world's largest democracy had just taken matter into its own hands on this day 5 years ago and bombed a terrorist training camp. It forced Pakistan to continue squandering millions in taxpayer and public money to manage the narrative, employ advocacy and PR firms to try and paint India as an unprovoked aggressor. It triggered a huge feud within the Pakistan military about who was responsible for the absolute and utter failure of the Pakistan Air Force to see through India's masterful ruse in diverting attention away from the actual target by pretending to target something else, perhaps in the south. But what it did above all is destroy any sense of sobriety and predictability that Pakistan had taken for granted with India. Pakistan had lulled itself into a space of complacency, assured that India, with all its democratic burdens and international obligations, would never dream of unilateral military action on Pakistani soil. So while Pakistan coughed itself into a fit, trying to debunk the damage, the world knew the truth. Forever after, a precedent had been set when those bombs struck Balakot, viewer. A precedent which made retaliatory action by India an assured default thing if Pakistan ever conducted a large-scale terror attack again. That India had set the bar for itself and therefore couldn't go back on its own benchmark, its own example. Balakot has had a huge impact on India too, but in a vastly different way. Just 21 days ago, this month, on February the 5th, the Congress's leader in the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, for the nth time wondered why there was no proof of the damage inflicted by the Balakot airstrikes. It was largely lost in the din of Parliament, but it stands as an example of how Balakot lingers in the Indian political consciousness, which sees Balakot as something that sealed the opposition's fate in the 2019 election campaign. That Balakot continues to grate, that there still exists thinly veiled insinuations within the opposition ranks that the provocation for the Balakot airstrikes were a planned false flag by the Indian government, are all indicators of the lasting and perhaps permanent effects of the decision that India took on this day 5 years ago, viewer. I'll end not with the politics, but by something that's very, very important. I'll end by taking the names of the 5 incredible Mirage 2000 pilots who were decorated for flying the mission to bomb Balakot. Wing Commander Pranav Raj, Squadron Leader Rahul Basoya, Squadron Leader Pankaj Bujade, Squadron Leader Shashank Singh, and Squadron Leader BKN Reddy. The maintenance crews, weapons technicians, radar specialists, and all others associated with the amazing mission that took place on this day 5 years ago. The nation salutes you, and the nation always remembers. And now we're very, very privileged to be joined on this day, on this anniversary of the Balakot mission by Air Marshal Anil Khosla. He was the Vice Chief of the Air Staff during that particular operation. He is someone who has spoken extensively about it, but we're very honored and privileged, Air Marshal Khosla, to have you with us live today to take some of our questions. Remember, viewer, I'd like to remind you that this mission continues to be a classified mission. Most aspects of it remain under the cover of secrecy. There are reasons for it, obviously, because this is a mission that had a strategic effect. Air Marshal Khosla, welcome, sir. Thank you once again for your time. 5 years later, your opening thoughts on how you look back on that particular day, sir. You were the Vice Chief of the Air Staff, very much in the saddle, very much part of the entire process that led up to this historic operation. Your reminiscences of that particular night, that particular day, sir.
Thank you, Shiv. You almost covered every aspect, the strategic aspect of Balakot. Yeah, I think it was a farewell gift to me. I retired in April, and just before that, these operations took place. And I had the privilege of, from Air Headquarters, coordinating the activity. And, in lighter vein, in old age, I might forget my own name, but those 14 days, I'll never forget in my life. I mean, there were so many emotions involved in those days. And but the whole project, the whole event was planned very well. And you took names of 5 pilots who dropped the weapons, but actually the entire Indian Air Force worked towards it and to make it success. And it was a very, very exhilarating experience as such. And it felt nice that the country as well as the decision makers had put their faith into the Indian Air Force, and Indian Air Force did deliver and did deliver it in style.
What was it like, sir? The military planners, all the aspects that go into a mission of this kind are very, very complicated. It happened I've written about, like we've reported about, under a shroud of great secrecy. But what kind of pressure was there, on you, on those in Delhi at that time to make sure that all these moving parts resulted in a successful mission? Just give us a sense of the mood, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, everyone, it was a need-to-know basis operation where it was kept totally under, only need-to-know basis. People knew about the whole that it is taking place, and that is what yielded the tactical surprise on the enemy. And we carried on the other activities as usual, and it was as I said, it was a very, very exhilarating experience. Everyone was charged up for this opportunity, and there's a lot of coordination. Actually, there are 2 segments for these plans. One is the command level and one is the air headquarters level. So air headquarters level, the task is to coordinate, take the decisions from the decision makers and pass it on to the operating command, as well as coordinate with all the agencies for operation. There's a coordination involved with a whole lot of agencies, sister services, int agencies, aviation, the name of it. But we did it without disclosing the actual operations. And the second part is the tactical part, where the command gets into the action with their stations and plans out the number of aircraft, number of weapons, target to weapon matching, and package and operating bases. The whole lot of things are there. So there are 2 segments which take place. But the whole experience was, that's what we are trained for, that's what we are waiting for. And it was a nice way of conducting the operation.
While, when the mission had begun, some movies have been made about scenarios of this kind, the kind of tension that would exist in war rooms and things like that, the dramatic effect of all of that. But, people in the Air Force, people in the military are made of a different kind of metal. You have to keep very, very calm. Everything, is dictated by the kind of training that you have. When the aircraft were in the air, I know I'm asking a specific question, but I still want to try and capture this for our viewers because it's very valuable to them. When the aircraft were in the air, when it's a kind of no turning back, all systems go, they will only come back once they've dropped their weapons. What was that like, sir? How was everything monitored?
Yeah, so Air Force is a very, very networked service, and the networking is very advanced. And sitting in any of the place, you can see the air activity all around the airspace in India as well as neighboring airspace. So that monitoring can be done in the ops room, and can be done anywhere sitting where the system is available, the IACCS system. So it was a network this thing, and it can be monitored. That is number one. The second aspect which you brought out is very correct, that the emotions which go through, although it is not shown in the mind, it goes through. A whole lot of them. You're wondering, have we missed out on anything? Have all contingencies been looked into and covered, and the plans have been made? Will it go through properly? Will there any other chance of failure? Will something happen? What next? So all those emotions, they keep going this thing. But when the operations are going on, then you are looking at it and seeing that everything is going as per plan, and that gives you assurance.
As part of the planning process, just to try and understand it, how would the pilots have been selected for this mission? Was there some kind of a criteria for this, or any of the pilots would have been capable of, flying a mission of this kind?
No, once you are declared fully operational, you're fully operational. There's no difference between pilot A and pilot B. Both are fully operational. They can go in for the mission. And that is a prerogative of the commanding officer. The command and air headquarters don't get involved in all that. And full freedom is given to the commanding officer to choose his team and start working on it. And any pilot can be selected who's declared fully operational for it. And also taken into consideration is the currency. If a pilot has gone on a leave for 1 or 2 months and then join back, obviously he will take time to come back to this thing. So that is prerogative of the CEO to decide his team and for the task which has been given.
One final question, sir, and very briefly, the strategic effects of Balakot. We've seen the claim versus counter-claim war, कि कितना damage हुआ, कितने आतंकवादी मर गए उसमें. The Air Force has stayed very professionally above all of this, because the Air Force knows, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, that the effect was, immediately there was a tactical effect, but the strategic effect is more important. The insomnia of Pakistan, the fact that no major terror attack has happened since, and that a benchmark has been set as far as retaliatory action is concerned.
Yeah, very true, Shiv. The strategic effects you covered very well. You summed it up very well, and that is what has happened. And actually, what happens is any such operation or any war, even in now current wars, if you see, the media war takes over, and the narrative is brought in. So in that narrative, now it is not only the Air Force; it is a whole of government approach for the narrative, and all the agencies are involved in creating the narrative. And narrative has to be one that gives you legitimacy, that gives you a lot of this thing. As far as Air Force is concerned, it did its job, and whatever information was required, it provided, and thereafter. Whatever the narrative came out, and everyone knows, actually the whole world knows. And the duplicity of Pakistan also, everyone, the lies which came out one after the other. So कहते हैं ना, नकल के लिए भी अकल चाहिए होती है. They, in a day, I don't know how many times they made a statement and they later retracted it. And
absolutely.
It proved counterproductive to their narrative and cause. So everyone knows what actually happened and how it affected tactically and strategically. And I think Air Force did a very professional job. We did make mistakes on the second day also, but that is a part of the war. And we learned lessons from it and moved on and corrected them and made amendments.
Very, very true. Permanent psychological and strategic insomnia. That was the effect of Balakot, the airstrike that took place on this day 5 years ago. Air Marshal Khosla, I thank you, and the country thanks all of the pilots, and thanks you personally also for your service. You were very much part of the team that made this historic military operation a reality. So our salutes to you, and once again thank you very much for your time and for taking our questions on this landmark 5th anniversary of the Balakot airstrikes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap on 5 Live. 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita Nandagopal is next. The big showdown over academic and writer Nitasha Kaul, who was invited for a conference by the Congress government in Karnataka, but she's been bounced from the country and deported. What happened? Akshita will tell you next.